I mean, maybe listen just in case. Get it? The docket is gold. My pockets are swole. Stop, drop, and roll. At lock, I'm the gold. It doesn't get old. Each episode, I just download. I'm just a fella that's hella intelligent now that I got me the code. Build me a yellow brick road. Hey, chillin', feelin'. How could I be this gifted? Millions, reelin'. Frying up all of these fish sticks. Enter all these competitions. I ain't seen no competition. Justice served can't stop the system. I suggest y'all stop and listen. Please rise, sit down. Pot is in session, get rich now. Invest in the best, yes. The investigator is nothing but fresh. Please rise, sit down. Pot is in session, get rich now. Go by the book, yeah. The lawyer is loyal, now come take a look. Go.
Okay, let's go. Welcome to the DFS Docket on sportsradiodetroit.com, sidelinesquib.com. You're listening to us now live on YouTube. Actually, there's 0 of you watching now, so appreciate every single one of you. You can find us on all your podcast platforms, Podbean, Spotify, iTunes. Please like us, leave a review, tell us we're great, tell us we suck, whatever it is. We appreciate anything and everything you tell us. Abe, the DFS detective, here with you. Week 16, championship week for most of you. I've said, Josh isn't here this week. As per usual, Josh is on vacation. Very, very honored to have one of the co-founders of SidelineSquib.com, Steve Silvestri, with us here this week. Now, Steve, when our show started about right about this time a year ago, I was very, very public in telling people, if you are in a 17-week season, I don't even want you listening to my show. You don't play real fantasy football. I don't even want you on board with this.
I agree. This is it. This is championship week. We are here. We have done it. We're through another season, and this is the big one. This is the big one, guys. Tomorrow, your lineups need to be locked and loaded, ready to go. Make moves on the weekend. The flex spot is huge this week, so please, I'm looking forward to it. More importantly, thanks for having me, and I'm loving being on the guesting side of things for once. We've officially through like 365 days of this, and I think I've had the time to guess maybe 7 times, so I can sit back, just cracked open a nice bottle, can sit here and let you do your thing.
There you go. Yeah, it's nice sometimes to just sit back and not have to worry about a thing and just questions being asked. I'm just going to answer questions. That's it. I don't have to think of a question. I don't have to keep the flow of the show going. I'm just going to sit back, relax, and just talk some football. Ooh, look at this. Hey, someone's watching. How about that? Hi there, whoever's out there. Welcome to the show. Tonight, great show as always. We're going to get you down for your main slate Sunday DFS lineups. Steve, you and I haven't really discussed as much for the website. I was thinking that as we spitball live, I was thinking about not only giving people our Sunday main lineups, but even a Saturday lineup. We all talk about Thanksgiving, and it's a great day for fantasy football. You have 3 games going. You have a lot of different options out there. This Saturday, there's going to be 3 games being played. I don't have the games in front of me because I'm not the most prepared person in the world. I'm pulling it up now, but there are 3 games this week. So I'm thinking, hey, tonight we're going to break down for you your Sunday games, because that's what we do here. But I think we should get some lineups out there to the people for Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I like that. It's a decent slate for Saturday as well. It's not the showdown slate where you're just dealing with 2 teams. Even like last night's NBA slate, you're dealing with 2 games with 4 teams. It gives you a little bit more having that 6. So we're gonna have Tampa Bay and Detroit, San Fran, Arizona, and Miami and Las Vegas. So there's a lot of good value there within those. And I agree. Why not? We'll go ahead and drop it. If you guys don't know or you haven't yet, swing over to sidelinesquib.com. The biggest thing is it was behind a paywall. It is no longer. So to get to it may be a little tricky at first if you're not used to it. All you got to do is go to sidelinesquib.com, scroll down about halfway down the page. You'll see something that says Members DFS. Go ahead, click on that, make a free login, and bam, all the information, all of our cheat sheets, core videos, everything will be right on there. It's not updated quite yet, but if we're going to do a Saturday slate, Abe, looks like I better turn around and get this thing updated.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go with it, because I mean, why not? I'd say let's do a Friday one also, but there's just one Friday game. This has to be undoubtedly the first year in NFL history that there's been a game on every single day of the week, because we've had Tuesday football before. We had Wednesday football before. Now we're having Friday football with the Vikings and the Saints. And obviously, we've had Saturday, Sunday, Monday every week, Thursday every week. This has to be the first year ever that this has been going on.
Ever? I'm not sure. You got me on the spot there. I don't know. Christmas does not fall on the same day or the same day of the week each year. So I'm thinking there had to have been a Friday Christmas game at some point.
But the odds of a Friday game being played on the same year as a Tuesday or a Wednesday game.
You're not saying ever. You're saying I see.
Yeah, I'm not saying the first Friday game ever. I'm saying the first year ever that we've had NFL football in one season on every day of the week.
Yeah, because what was that Pittsburgh Tennessee game or something like that got pushed to Wednesday or some game?
Something.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. That may be. That's a good one to go back and look at. It'll be a trivia. 5 years, it'll be a trivia question.
Yeah, screw you, Elias Sportsbook. Look what I know. All right, let's we got a busy show tonight. Let's get to tonight's headlines. Even though Steve, I do apologize, I didn't give you any of them. So let's just get to it.
Here are tonight's top stories.
So as we approach championship games, because that's what it is, and I forgot to mention this, I'm in 3. Steve, I didn't want to ask you this. I'm in 6 leagues total, and I'm in 3 championship games this week. And I don't think it's very much a coincidence that my quarterback in all 3 of those leagues is the same player, and it's Patrick Mahomes. So
I would say that's not a coincidence for you in that situation.
No, not at all. How many leagues are you in, and how many finals are you in? And I hope it's a very embarrassing answer.
It is. Your percentage is a lot better than mine. I had, and to no avail and no excuses. Obviously, COVID hit me pretty hard. Hit my teams pretty hard, as well as some bad injuries. But I'm in 16 total leagues.
Jeez.
I'm in 5 finals. I was in 8 total playoffs. So I was right about I was at 50% making playoffs. But then the thing that sucks the worst is that there wasn't a league that I just got blown out of the water. I'm at so many leagues. I'm stuck at that 7-6 or whatever, 6-8 or whatever that mark is, where my draft pick's going to be middle of the first anyway. So
you're talking mostly about dynasty leagues.
Everything. Yeah, all of them are dynasty except for one which I didn't even count in the numbers. The Fantasy Cares Eliminator that we run through the Scott Fish Bowl. It's an eliminator where every week it's a best ball. Every week a different team, the lowest score gets knocked off, and it's me and one other person left in it. So
there you go.
The
one that you care least about is the one that you've gone furthest in. That makes sense.
The one I can't win, because if I win, me being me, I do it for charity anyway. And I speak for Andrew when we do this too. We're gonna if we win that money, we're giving it right back to the charity that we're promoting anyway. So it's a win-win, but lose-lose at the same time, if you want to look at it that way.
Absolutely. All right. So tonight's headlines brought to you by TrophySmack.com. Don't forget to go to TrophySmack.com. Get your championship belts. It's the time. It's the time. By Monday morning, Tuesday morning, the latest, you're going to know that you have won a championship. So go to TrophySmack.com, use the promo code SQUIB, and go get yourself that free ring to go along with it. A little bit of big news. James Robinson, high ankle sprain, questionable for Sunday. Now, James Robinson is that guy. He's that waiver wire darling from the season where he wasn't drafted in redraft, even in dynasty leagues. I can't imagine anybody drafted him during their draft in, what was it, May, June time.
Yeah.
He was picked up off the waiver wire probably after Leonard Fournette was cut, maybe even early in the season. But there's a good chance this week that he does not play with that high ankle sprain. Is there anybody on the Jaguars that you would be comfortable pivoting to?
Anybody or running back? Because
anybody. Let's see. If you drafted a team and James Robinson was a waiver wire guy, you probably already had 2 starting running backs.
Yeah.
Already on your roster. You weren't relying on James Robinson.
Correct.
So he's probably your flex guy or potential flex guy. So yes, anybody in the Jaguars. Are you willing to pick up DJ Chark this week or Keelan Cole this week to play against Who's Jackson? Jacksonville's playing the Chicago Bears.
Correct.
Are you willing to play? And by the way, God, I hope Jacksonville wins. Oh my God. Okay, hold on. I'm really, really sorry. Here's my opportunity. Screw Adam Gase. Screw everybody on the Jets, because by winning this game, screw Sean McVay. I hate the Rams for now and forever. By winning that game, the Jets screwed themselves for the next 15 years. It is the most Jets move I have ever seen in my life. I've gone through hell and back with this team, and they screwed themselves for the next 15 years. I'm sick to my stomach. I'm sorry. All right, back to James Robinson on that crappy team.
I mean, as far as if you're forcing me to pick someone,
yes, I am forcing you.
It's going to be Shenault, just because I've always been a Laviska Shenault fan. He is a dual threat, and they're starting to utilize that a little bit more of the Deebo Samuel effect, where they're using him out of the backfield, they're using him as that X back, and they're starting to give him carries as well as targets. Now, obviously, the running back situation isn't good. It's going to be what Devon Zigbo, I believe, is going to be.
I'm not even going to try and pronounce their names, honestly.
Yeah,
Obi-Wan Kenobi or something like that.
Yeah. So I probably want to go anywhere. If I had to, it'd probably be Shenault. I mean, DJ Shark's always an option just because of his speed, but he's going up against that Chicago defense and secondary that's 9th in DVOA overall, 4th in rush defense, and then 10th in pass defense. So you're looking at a top 10 overall defense anyway. With Gardner Minshew back under center, with the speed he has, there's a lot of question marks around that Jacksonville team as it is. I'm not taking the chances if I don't have to.
Other news: Clyde Edwards-Helaire with a hip injury out for the remainder of the regular season. We'll see what happens in the playoffs, and that will come to a DFS format later in a couple weeks. But championship week, Atlanta Falcons. Are you willing to play Le'Veon Bell? He's the only guy there right now.
No, I don't think I'm playing Lev Bell this week either. I don't know if you caught the end of the game. He actually left with an injury as well, so he's also dealing with an injury. But I think he's going to play. So where I think is going to get the most, I mean, if he can go through a whole week of practice, I don't think Thursday news is going to be big. It's going to be that Friday injury report that comes out. But looking forward to that, I think I'm going to lose his name right now. Darrell
Williams.
Yeah, Darrell Williams is going to be the target, I think, and the guy who's going to get the most. Yeah, he's going to get the most shares, I think, if Lev Bell is not 100%.
So it was brought to me today by a fan of the show, asking me basically what it's coming down to is Josh Jacobs versus Miami or Le'Veon Bell versus Atlanta. And here's my advice. Here's my take on it. Trust your stars. Trust your stars in the regular season. Trust them, to an extent. However, when it comes to this week, depending on it depends on what you need. If you go into that Miami-Vegas game and you need Josh Jacobs to score 20 to 25 points, you play Josh Jacobs. If you're in a position where, hey, I need a 10 spot. That's all I need just to stay balanced. All I need is somewhere between 8 and 12 points. I think I'd go with Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying not to be a homer here because Miami's defense is a solid defense.
Surprisingly, they're very, very good.
My only thing to that, and this is something Andrew and I talk about on the podcast all the time, is Las Vegas is, you got to look at where you're going. So I think the floor is going to be Josh Jacobs. I think he's going to have the higher floor. Even though the Kansas City offense is probably in the best situation against Atlanta, which is a very awful defense, but you just don't know about Le'Veon Bell if he's going to be 100% yet. Like I said, that news on Friday is going to be key because you got to remember Vegas plays on Saturday. We just talked about that. So say you play Lev Bell and come Sunday morning, he's out. You don't have an option. Well, now you're done.
You drop him and you pick up Darrell Williams real quick.
You know what I mean? Now you're done. And that's where I look at it, where even if Josh Jacobs puts up 15 on Saturday, it's going to be one of those situations where you're not leaving yourself an out, and you don't want to get too cute in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, especially championship week. But that's one thing that we always preach on the Squib is, flex positions, bye weeks, when people play, stuff like that. Make sure you're rostering your team to success yourself rather than that. I mean, Le'Veon Bell obviously wasn't getting the touches. He only had 56 attempts rushing this year, 28 yards a game. Obviously, he's behind CEH, but I don't know. It's a tough situation there. I mean, obviously, I think I'm sticking with Josh Jacobs, even taking the homer pick out of it, going against a better defense. But I do think it's going to be it's going to be an interesting matchup. I'll tell you that. I would just much rather have the confidence that he's going to play rather than going into Sunday morning with a question mark.
So I'll tell you this. I got Josh Jacobs in one of my finals. And now I happen to be stacked at the position. I also have Nick Chubb and David Montgomery, who Montgomery's been on fire.
Yeah,
is a must start.
Yep.
It comes down to my flex position. It comes to Josh Jacobs, Antonio Gibson, or DJ Moore for the most part. That's pretty much what it comes down to for me. To me, it's if Antonio Gibson is healthy, he's the guy over Josh Jacobs this week. Now the debate between Antonio Gibson and DJ Moore, that's a different debate that we don't need to get into. But if you're down. Antonio, I still go with Gibson. Yeah. If Gibson is healthy, you have to start him over Josh Jacobs. That's how. Even though Josh Jacobs for a lot of people was a first, second round pick, don't get so invested in that. Go for the guy that you believe is going to score the most points this week, not who you invested the highest draft capital into.
Yep. No, I 100% agree with that.
One last thing in the news before we get into this week's main slate: George Kittle back from the IR. I don't know how many snaps he's going to play. Raheem Mostert, Deebo Samuel, both placed on IR, out for the remainder of the season. It's going to be Brandon Ayuk. It's going to be George Kittle. If you made it to the finals this week with Kittle out for a good chunk of the year, congratulations. Don't know how you did it, but are you playing George Kittle over Dallas Goedert?
That's another tough one. I mean, coming into the situation, I'm going to go with no. I am going to be playing Dallas Goedert in this situation. Again, you're talking about another Saturday game with the ifs and buts. The good thing is you'll have the luxury of knowing if Kittle's playing that Saturday or not. So I think that helps a little bit. Maybe news will come out that he'll be on a snap count. Maybe something will come out that he'll be, brought back in slowly, which will be to the benefit of you this week. But I think any report is not going to be good for Kittle. Jalen Hurts looks really good as a rookie. They're coming in with Zach Ertz has fallen off. I mean, I don't know if he's not involved. I don't know if the game plan switched a little bit, but obviously with Jalen Hurts, you're seeing a lot more RPO, and that's where Ertz used to thrive, and he's just not 100% back yet. The seams aren't there for him. He had that one big play this past weekend, but Dallas Goedert's still getting a target share. Dallas Goedert to Zach Ertz is getting 68% more target share than Zach Ertz is since he returned. So I think I'd go Dallas Goedert just because I like the matchup. I think I like that matchup a little bit better going into the week. It's tough. It's George Kittle. He's a top 3 tight end. But again, you're talking about the difference between going up against, an injured George Kittle or Dallas Goedert against one of the 31st, I believe, defense in Dallas.
Yeah, Goddard was just a name by example, but he's one of those guys he's not necessarily locked into your lineup. He's not Travis Kelce. He's not Darren Waller. He's not Mark Andrews who's going to be in there. And whoever this guy is says Kittle does not need to play the rest of the season.
Correct. No, I agree. I think that's a very good point. Coming into it, why take that chance as an ownership, as a coach, as an ownership, as who is that? Why throw him out there? Why would you not put him on a snap count? If you want to ease him back, if he wants to go out there, fine. But they're not going to run him 85% routes.
This comment by one Mr. Hill, that's actually Tyreek Hill's brother, and all he's saying is that he wants to prove even more so that Travis Kelce is the best in the game.
Travis Kelce's pretty damn good.
Travis Kelce. That would be Travis Kelce is the best in the game. And there's really no debate about it. All right, let's get into this week's main slate. Like I said, it's a shorter week. Rather less matchups than usual. We have Indianapolis at Pittsburgh, Atlanta at Kansas City, like we mentioned, Cleveland at the Jets. I hope the Jets lose by 40. You have the Giants at Baltimore, Cincinnati at Houston, Chicago at Jacksonville, Carolina at Washington, Denver at the Chargers, the Rams in Seattle, and we finish with Philadelphia at Dallas. We start, as always, with that good old quarterback position. Steve, we got Patrick Mahomes, no surprise there. The leader at $8,500, followed by Lamar Jackson at $8,000, Deshaun Watson at $7,600, and Justin Herbert at $7,400. So give me a couple of guys that you want to target this week.
Just out of those ones you listed, or any of them?
It's anybody. Give me the whole.
I'm actually again, my process usually it's the very first process. You know, today's what, Wednesday here. I guess it's Wednesday everywhere, but usually I'm still focused on Thursday night football at this point, and then obviously with the startup of basketball, this is going to get pushed down a little bit. But right now, I'm actually going down a little bit. You know, I'm starting my research at Jalen Hurts. I love the dual threat versus Dallas, 31st defense overall DVOA. Not good against the run, not good against the pass, and I'm not scared to go down even further. Save myself $900 on the recency bias of Baker Mayfield, who's absolutely just been playing like the number one pick recently, and he's going up against the Jets. I love his price at $6,100. I mean, you can save a lot of money. I mean, he's only $500, $400 more than Mitch Trubisky. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of money to be. There's a lot of money to shoot. He's only $600, $700 more than Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz isn't even playing.
Well, that's a long debate I've had for a long time about how they price guys that aren't playing. Like for a long time, Christian McCaffrey was the highest priced running back, and he was out. So what DraftKings and FanDuel do with that? None of that really makes sense to me.
It eliminates the bots, is what it does. So you're going to have those guys that are going out there to get the best bang for your buck. The algorithm put into place to have them in there like that is if you're someone who is going to use an optimizer of some sort and not set or take out certain parameters for them, it's going to put Christian McCaffrey in your lineup.
Good. Let them.
Correct.
Let them.
That's why I like them being in there.
So Jalen Hurts, I'm just not sold on Hurts yet. Watching him in college, he seemed very much like a one option quarterback. Like he eyes down his target, and then if that guy's not there, he tucks his head and he runs. Now it's worked phenomenally, and it can work phenomenally again against Dallas, especially with their poor defense. So I'm not saying it's a terrible play, especially at the price point. I'm just not 100% sold on the guy making his third career start. Baker Mayfield, on the other hand, I'm 100% with you on. How this guy's been on fire and how he's only $6,100 against the Jets, who can't stop anything or anybody, is an absolute joke and a disgrace to DraftKings. Baker Mayfield should be priced higher than Ben Roethlisberger, who just looked the worst of his career going up against a very good Indianapolis defense. Ben Roethlisberger is 100% on my don't touch list. Lamar Jackson, it's every week I say this, but Lamar Jackson is not playable to me. His price point is too high. He's going up against a good defense, a surprisingly good defense with the Giants, and particularly a good rush defense against the Giants. And I never trusted Lamar Jackson passing the ball anyway. What do you think of Lamar? Are you willing to spend up to go get him?
No, I'm actually out on some of the top. I think the highest I'd go is Deshaun Watson. I'm out on Lamar and Patrick Mahomes this week. It's just going to be too hard to build a lineup around them, and stacks are going to be almost impossible. I mean, Lamar Jackson, the only way you're going to stack there is going to be with Mark Andrews.
Has to be.
Really, and Patrick Mahomes is going to be either Tyreek or Travis Kelce, which are both top of their positions as well. So if you want to build obviously you have Patrick Mahomes against Atlanta defense. That's ridiculous. He's probably going to put up 60 points.
I hope
the thing is,
I got him in three. I got him in 3 championship games. I hope he goes for 100 in each one of them.
Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, it's perfect for fantasy football reasons. For DFS, sure, you can put all your money in on Patrick Mahomes, and many people will. I mean, he is the best quarterback by far. It's just, and going up against one of the worst defenses, it's just going to be tough to build a lineup. I messed around with a few very quickly, and I just don't like it. I would rather take 10 less points and save what, $2,400 going down to Baker.
Yep, 100%. Let me bring up one guy before we move on to the running backs, and I have not discussed him once on the show, nor have I ever brought it up. You know, I'm not a homer. I love the Jets. I hate the Jets. I think the Jets are a complete waste of time. But Sam Darnold this week at $5,000. Obviously, he's not a great quarterback. Obviously, the Jets suck. But Cleveland has been playing out of their mind the last couple weeks. And I really think that they're going to be up big early in this game, forcing Darnold to have to throw the ball a lot, especially in the second half. Now, obviously, Adam Gase, all he wants to do is give Frank Gore the ball because Adam Gase apparently, so we all know the movie, Back to the Future. And apparently Adam Gase is driving around in one of those cars because he thinks he's living back in 2002 again, where Frank Gore needs to touch the ball 36 times a game.
Yeah.
Even with that said, they're going to be down big, and so Darnold's going to have to throw the ball a lot at $5,000. Risk versus reward might be there, especially if you want to pay up for a couple top level running backs. Just throwing that out there for bleeps and giggles. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I'll touch on that. I don't hate it. I mean, I was a big fan of Sam Darnold coming out of USC, and I still had hopes. I think he got Adam Gase. I think a lot of people think that. I'm trying to dig in and see what his completion percentage is without someone doing it, but going a little too quick. I mean, Cleveland's playing out of their mind, but Cleveland's still in the bottom third in all defensive stats and metrics. So not a bad play there, but I think if you're looking to go to Sam Darnold only because of money, I think there's better quarterbacks around him for that price. I mean, Drew Lock going up against the Chargers, Nick Foles is out. Let's go Mitch Trubisky there. I don't know. It's so tough to go with Sam Darnold in that position. I just feel like he doesn't have anyone to throw to. And for someone who, again, at a quarterback position, you're looking at Sam Darnold. What project Sam Darnold's DFS points? Where would you go from there?
If he threw for, now let me pull up last week's game, where he probably had the best game of the season. So his last game, he went 22 for 31, threw for 207 and a touchdown. He had 14 fantasy points. That's not completely, and that was against actually a pretty good Rams passing defense and Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald in that crew. If he put up 14, 15 points again this week at that price point where now I can get a Dalvin Cook and a Nick Chubb, or Dalvin Cook's not available this week, but a Nick Chubb and a David Montgomery, or a Nick Chubb, and if you want to play Kelsey this week, look, if you want to play Kelsey, you can't play Pat Mahomes. It's almost impossible. So you gotta downgrade somewhere else. Which stack would you rather have right now? Sam Darnold and the 15 points you're gonna get with him, and Travis Kelsey, or Patrick Mahomes and a Gerald Everett?
I mean, quick. I'm going Patrick Mahomes.
Okay,
I think Patrick Mahomes.
The fact that it's debatable at least says something to me.
Yeah, I was also reading the question we had at the same time, but I think just quickly I'm going there. There's a couple other ways I'd go. I think at that price point, and for only $1,000 more, I'm staying in that $6,000 range with Baker and Jared Goff's playable against Seattle at 59.
I'm with you on that. It's just a name. If you're struggling to get some of these higher end guys in there,
yeah, I can see that.
That's it. All right, let's go over to the running back position. Before we get into those guys, we do have a question about some running backs that we can start touching on. Now, if this guy, Mr. Davis, had actually listened to our show when we began, he'd already know that we've kind of already discussed this Josh Jacobs, Le'Veon Bell situation. So he asks us for his flex position, half PPR, Jeff Wilson, Josh Jacobs, Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson. Now, you already know my take. I'm more on the Le'Veon Bell side if you're looking for 8 to 12 points, if you kind of know what you're going to need there. Jeff Wilson is incredibly interesting because there's no Raheem Mostert. He's out this week. We already brought that up. Jeff Wilson might be the only go-to guy with the 49ers this week. David Johnson, to me, you can cut him. He's absolutely useless. And Josh Jacobs, Steve's going to have a different perspective being a Raiders fan, but Josh Jacobs, obviously, out of all these guys, has the highest ceiling.
So, I'll go with that as well. I think Josh Jacobs. I think Josh Jacobs has the highest floor out of those as well. Half point PPR. That's where it gets you here. So you're not getting the full out of Lev Bell, who is going to get 4 catches maybe. Josh Jacobs even less. Jeff Wilson 0. The sneaky one in a half point PPR for me is going to be David Johnson. David Johnson is not the David Johnson of old. We all know that. But he's coming off a really strong game last week. They don't have Bill O'Brien, so it's Deshaun Watson's game now. He's the saving grace, especially with wide receiver Will Fuller out. Kenny Stills is cut for all we know. You got Kiki Kuti and Brandon Cooks, who has a concussion every other week. Do you see what David Johnson did last week? And they're going up against Cincinnati, who is not very good against the pass defense for running backs. Against running backs, they're 27th in the league against running backs in coverage percentage. He ran 37 routes last week. David Johnson ran 37 routes last week and had 11 targets. I think DFS wise, I don't like the price. I think it's a fake price, and I'm going to stay away from that. He's $1,400 more than he was the week before, and I think that's good. But I think in a half PPR, if you're talking playoffs or championship in fantasy, I'm probably going Josh Jacobs and David Johnson in that matchup.
So yeah, last week,
or were we only picking one there?
I think he's just looking for one. Looking for one. So would it be Jeff Wilson or Josh Jacobs?
I'm taking Josh Jacobs there.
All right. So I think the 11 targets was an anomaly for him. Now, we all know David Johnson is an elite pass catcher. There's no question about it. He also ran the ball for 8 attempts for 27 yards. And that was with a long carry of 8. So running the ball, he has been completely ineffective this year. Deshaun Watson has historically not passed the ball to the running backs. I truly think that last week's game was the exception, not the rule. I don't expect to see David Johnson doing that again. I think Deshaun Watson's a guy that wants to push the ball down the field more. And David Johnson is just not somebody that I can trust. I also don't believe that he can play a full game.
So what if he does half of that? What if he does half of what he did last week?
Look, even half is a great game for him. Even half is a great game. I think you're starting to convince me on Josh Jacobs overall. Again, it's trust your stars, So to me, it comes down to Jeff Wilson versus Josh Jacobs. Le'Veon Bell, like you mentioned earlier, kind of got hurt before towards the end of the game. So even if he's not 100%, and we all know that they don't run the ball in Kansas City, like they're the only team that Kansas City doesn't run the ball. Like victory formation for the Chiefs is still Mahomes passing a short out to Kelsey. Like that's still victory formation for them. To me, it comes down to Jeff Wilson versus Josh Jacobs, and it's tight. It really is. And when it comes down to it being that close, I think I'll go with my star player in Josh Jacobs over him. Let's get to our DFS stuff though. So McCaffrey, who's doubtful to play, is at $9,200, followed by Nick Chubb at 78, David Montgomery at 77, and then Austin Eckler at 76. Where are you going with your running backs this week?
I'm actually locked. I don't think I'm going to have a lineup that doesn't have David Montgomery in it. I think David Montgomery is a lock for me. He has been absolutely on a tear these last couple weeks, and now he's going up against the Jacksonville defense. I think it's a lock, but I think it's going to be chalk. They have an implied team total of almost 28 points. They're 7.5 point favorites, and they're going up against the 30th ranked DVOA, 25 against the rush, 31 against the pass. I think they're going to be out to a good lead. I think David Montgomery's a smash spot for me, but I think it's going to be a smash spot for a lot of people. So DFS wise, I think that's going to be good chalk that you have to eat. After that, I think, and I'm going back to this is because here is my Philly stack now. You heard that I was going to probably go around Jalen Hurts. I'm probably going to linger around Miles Sanders at the $7,000 mark. Still saving some good coin for the rest, but you can build a solid core with Jalen Hurts, David Montgomery, Miles Sanders. And Miles Sanders has been taking over the backfield. He's a dual threat also. He's catching more and more balls out of the backfield, and we're seeing a lot more RPO with Jalen Hurts and with Miles Sanders, and you're seeing that when that happens, everyone's worried more about the legs of Jalen Hurts. Giving when Miles Sanders does get the ball in his belly, he's getting 3 or 4 more yards without even being touched, which I absolutely love. I mean, last week he had 17 carries and not a single running back had another one. So he is on the field. He's back. He's dominating the runs. And I think he is a perfect complement. He's the salt to the pepper of Jalen Hurts. And I think I really like the matchup there as well.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Look, Dave Montgomery, another guy in a couple redraft leagues that I have absolutely, relied on towards the end of the season. Yeah, not going to read that question, Haley. Jonathan Taylor is a guy that has gotten a bulk of the carries there. Tony Pollard against a bad Philadelphia defense. But let me bring this name up to you as I scroll down. I saw it before. Carlos Hyde at $5,300 with Chris Carson obviously not at 100%, playing against a good Rams defense, not great but good. Is he a guy you're willing to play at $5,300? And then another guy on top of that, let me ask you about. We kind of brought him up. A couple guys. Frank Gore at $4,200. He's the only running back that Adam Gase trusts, and Damian Williams, who I just saw and then I lost him. Damian
opted out beginning of the season.
Not that Damian Williams. Who am I thinking of? God damn it, Darrell Williams. Yeah. Darrell Williams. There he is. $4,200. If Le'Veon Bell doesn't play, I think that's a high value you can get for him. And one higher price guy, J.K. Dobbins, a joke that he's only $6,200 this week against the Giants.
Yeah. I'm probably not touching Carlos Hyde. I'm not going to touch Carlos Hyde at all. Big run was the only thing he had last week. Chris Carson's still there. I think they like DJ Dallas. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he got cut or sent back down. But they still have Bo Scarborough, who came in and he's just getting carries right off the bat. He's consistent. He's a big body. He can get chunk yards. Carlos Hyde's getting up there in age, and they're going against the Rams defense, who, I mean, they're number one against the run right now. So I'm staying away.
When Bo Scarborough was born, did he have any other option but to be a professional football player? It's if you're British and your name is James, you're going to drive cars around for people. Your name is Bo Scarborough. You can't work at a car plant. You're going to be a running back. It's just kind of set in stone.
Yeah. Here's one. Here's one for you. I'm gonna throw this one out to you. Darrell Henderson.
There you go.
Rams is not a bad pick here. Not a bad pick at all.
No.
Cam Akers is out. What do they got? What are they working with?
Malcolm Brown as the passing back. But Darrell Henderson's going to get a bulk of the goal line work. That's for certain.
Yeah, I think there's a few cheap plays you can go there if you're going to pay up at another position.
Nick Chubb, by the way, if you're going to low price on a quarterback, even a Jalen Hurts at $7,000, I mean, pay up for Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is going to absolutely eat. The Jets are the 6th ranked defense against fantasy running backs. That is a sham. That is because their pass defense is just so bad. But it's obvious that Stefanski wants to run the ball with Nick Chubb, and that guy is just a beast of a human being. That he's a league winner because he spent so much time out this year. His legs are fresh, and I know I got a couple offers for him in some leagues. He's a league winner playing against the Giants and the Jets the last 2 weeks of the year. I'm more than happy to pay up for Nick Chubb this week.
It's hard to bat. It's hard to argue with you against Nick Chubb. The only argument that I would say is Nick Chubb puts up 19 points a week. Kareem Hunt puts up 15 points a week, and they're a $4,000 or $3,000 difference. That's the only thing I can say, but it's Nick Chubb's game. It really is. So I'll stay away from that one. I'll tell you a guy I'm staying away from before we jump over to the next position.
Go for it.
I am staying away from Jonathan Taylor this week. I think he's been playing very well. He's starting to get his feet wet. Week 16, starting to get his feet wet as a rookie, but he's going up against that Pittsburgh defense who just got torched.
Shellacked.
Absolutely torched. They are not going to let that happen. Mike Tomlin's going to come out. They are going to have that defense so fired up. Minka Fitzpatrick, TJ Watt, they're going to be all up in the quarterback's face. They're not going to give him anywhere to run. I'm 100% staying away from Jonathan Taylor at $7,300. No way.
See, in redraft, you have to play him because he's someone on your roster that you drafted high, and he's probably someone you're relying on. See, my worry about Jonathan Taylor in DFS is a little bit the price point. Pittsburgh doesn't scare me as much. I think Pittsburgh is a sinking ship. What scares me is still Frank Reich, and that Jordan Wilkins can get 4 goal line carries. Naheem Hines can get 50% of the work.
Yep.
That's what scares me about Jonathan Taylor, not the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's Frank Reich. All right, well, we had one more question about a quarterback, Tom Brady. No, he's playing down in Florida, so the Heat's going to get to him. So I think he'll be just fine down there. All right, let's get to the wide receiver position. Tyreek Hill, $9,000 against that Atlanta Falcons. Oh boy, if you have Tyreek Hill,
there's no way you can have both of them though. That's the only thing.
Yeah, wowzers. Calvin Ridley in that same matchup, followed by DK Metcalf and Allen Robinson. Are you willing to play DK Metcalf this week? He kind of scares me going up against not only going up against Jalen Ramsey.
No, not for that price.
But also with Russell Wilson not looking very good. Where would you want to go?
No, not at that price. I'm not touching.
Which high end receiver would you want to build your lineup around?
If I'm sticking away from where my build is already starting, if I want to start from scratch and say wide receiver is going to be where I want my money to be, you got to go to the top. I think if you're not going to the top with Tyreek Hill, the next one you got to go to, you got to skip, hop, and jump down to Allen Robinson, Keenan Allen.
That's my guy.
I think that's about where you are. Keenan Allen coming back from injury, but he's a guy. I mean, Justin Herbert loves him. He gets 15 targets a game. Air yards is insane. He's a reception monster. He's there. That's the guy to go to in LA. Allen Robinson, again, he is a very good receiver. You just never know with Chicago, Mitch Trubisky. You know, if he's lining up on the left side, he's not even going to see a target because Mitch can't throw to the left side of the field. So you're really, it's a scary price point there. Calvin Ridley, who has been absolutely insane lately this year. I think he's like the wide receiver 3 maybe on the season.
They can't run the ball. I mean, it helps the fact that Todd Gurley has 3 rushing yards on the season.
Yeah, he's not even. I don't even think he's starting this week.
He's their lead back. Yeah, so they just pass the hell out of the ball. I'm with you 1,000,000,000% on Allen Robinson, and don't forget this. This is a little revenge game for Mr. Robinson.
Yeah,
going back to Jacksonville. So I can absolutely see him just having one of those games. He gets in the huddle and he tells Trubisky, "Hey, give me 75% of the targets," because I think Robinson's going to go off. Keenan Allen scares me. I love Keenan Allen. If Keenan Allen was healthy, 1,000%. We've seen him. He's been Josh's stack of the week between Herbert and Allen for the last month in a row. But
just because of that, on the cheat sheet, I just put a revenge game with a little smiley face. So all those fans out there that are listening, if you go over to sidelinesquib.com, swing down to about halfway down the homepage, click on Members DFS, You get to see Abe's pretty face again with the videos there. You'll see the core plays, and you get all access to every cheat sheet we have. And when you're going in through player notes, you'll see right next to Allen Robinson's name, Revenge Game.
Oh yeah, big bold letters, because I mean that's what it is. And I mean, it's pretty pathetic that Allen Robinson's best quarterback in his career has been Mitchell Trubisky. That's it's pretty bad, but it is what it is for him, and hopefully he gets somewhere to a better place. Keenan Allen, like I was saying, last week showed me a lot where he only played 20 out of 60 snaps. That was the big tell for me. He got he got a few targets. He could have saved the fantasy matchup with the late touchdown. He got a red zone target there. That could have happened. But playing only 20 snaps is what scares me. Now he's got 10 days to rest up that hamstring. I'm just not going to pay up to get him this week. I love him and I'd love to, but I just can't do it. I think I'd rather play a guy like DJ Moore at $5,800, who's shown to be the number one target again down in Carolina for Teddy Bridgewater. I'd rather play Russell Gage at $5,100 because Atlanta's going to be down and throwing the ball, and I don't think Julio Jones is going to be playing this week. Yeah, I'd rather Mike Williams, honestly, if he plays.
I'm really high on Robert Woods this week.
Against that vaunted Seattle defense.
Yeah, I have Robert Woods projected a little over 6 more points than his average on the season, which is probably the highest I have for all of receivers. So I'm going to have Robert Woods a lot just based off of my personal projections that I have. But I also don't mind Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry at 6,900. We talked about how good and how on point Baker has been lately. Jarvis is the guy there. I mean, he's going to get 7-8 catches. He's going to put up 60 yards. For DFS purposes, it's going to be, does he fall in the end zone?
He might even throw a touchdown.
Yeah. And he's had, I believe I was looking at his stats earlier, a touchdown in the last 4 games or something like that. I think there was 3 touchdowns in 4 games, something along those lines. So, I mean, it's a good price point there. He's the guy to go to.
Now that you can see in film that Baker is targeting Jarvis Landry. There's a touchdown, I believe it's to Rashad Higgins last week. He has his guys that he wants to get involved, where he had David Njoku wide open at the goal line with nobody near him, and he threw it past him into triple coverage to Rashard Higgins. Now,
that was to Landry. That was to Landry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Landry still caught it. It was still a touchdown, but he's clearly targeting his guys. Njoku could have walked into the end zone with no issue, but he was forcing the matter. All right, we talked about the top end guys. Where's somebody that's lower priced that you need to take that risk on, that you want to go after?
Lower price I want to go after. I'm probably going to sit around. I would have to see where price falls.
Mecole Hardman at 3,100, big play guy.
You want to go way down? Yeah,
I'm looking down, like because again, if you're playing some upper end guys, you gotta balance it out with some lower end guys, and you can play either a. So let's look at these two guys: Alshon Jeffrey at $3,200 against Dallas. Mecole Hardman at $3,100 against Atlanta. Both have 0 floors. Realistically, both have 0 floors. But between those two guys, I'm going to take the higher ceiling. I'm going to take a guy, Mecole Hardman, that can catch 2 balls for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns, where Alshon Jeffrey might catch 5 balls for 36 yards.
I 100% agree with that.
So take that risk. That's how you win these things. You take the risk on these low price guys. Don't try and get all guys in the. Don't go Robbie Anderson, T.Y. Hilton, Amari Cooper between $5,500 and $5,700. Mix it up. Get your big play guy with the Tyreek Hill. Add him in with Mecole Hardman. Stack that. That's okay. You can stack 2 receivers together, even if you're not playing Mahomes. So, yeah, Mecole Hardman. I absolutely love at that price point.
Yeah, about that. If you're going way down about in the 3,000s, 3,100s, I like that. I'm right there. I mean, I don't think there's really. Again, you could take a shot on Josh Reynolds just because you're going up against that Seattle defense that we keep busting on because he's been involved. But Josh Reynolds isn't McCole Hardman. If you're talking,
Big play.
McCole Hardman also returns punts. If he can sneak one out there, you'll get 6 points. You won't get his return yards, but you will get his return touchdown on DraftKings if he sneaks a special teams punt in there as well. In the middle, my phone's glowing crazy. I guess we got something going on right now. In the middle, I'd say 44, 45. Let's go.
Jameson Crowder with all the target share. Michael Pittman, I kind of want to stay away from because of the Pittsburgh defense.
Yeah.
Chad Henson, who's looked, I mean, I throw up thinking of Chad Henson and what he's doing and what he could have done for the Jets, but he's been Deshaun Watson's go-to guy.
If Tyler Boyd comes back healthy, he went out for a little bit with a concussion protocol, I believe, last week. And if he can come back, that's not a bad price point for him at 49 going against Houston's defense. Who ranks 24. I mean, the only thing there is their implied team total is only 20. So now you're talking, there's only going to be 2 touchdowns roughly in that game per Vegas. So you got to get lucky that he gets one of the 2. It's probably going to be Drew Sample, but
or go with T. Higgins, who's guaranteed to play.
Yeah, you could also do that too. Who's around 47? Yep. I haven't projected it out to be about his average. Same, yeah. That's not a bad one there either. If you're going to talk about middle range there, I like. But I think I'd sneak up to CeeDee Lamb if I could. All
right, let's move over to the tight end position. Before we start with those guys, we do have a question. I'm guessing this is for somebody's championship team as always. Hunter Henry or Robert Tonyan this week? Derrick Henry. Yep,
give me Derrick Henry.
Give me Derrick Henry every day of the week. Hunter Henry is going up against the Denver Broncos, which is a good matchup. And then Robert Tonyan is going up against the Tennessee Titans, which is an even better matchup. Between those two, I'm going with Robert Tonyan because I think as bad as Denver's defense is, I think Tennessee's defense is a lot worse. Give me the better quarterback in Aaron Rodgers.
So we're going back to obviously redraft or fantasy playoffs here.
Because
Tonyan plays Sunday night. So
yeah.
I'll go get you here. I'll go Hunter Henry. I like Hunter Henry. I like what Justin Herbert's doing. There's going to be a lot of points scored in that game, upwards of 50. And, as long as they're going to be putting the guys over top on Keenan Allen if he's healthy, it's all going to depend if Big Mike's back. If Mike Williams is back and he's out there and he's 100% or even 80%, it's going to leave a lot of open seams across the middle for Hunter Henry. And I think that's where, even though Justin Herbert has a big arm, if his big receivers on the outside are open, that's where he's going. The only fear I have there is going to be Austin Eckler out of the backfield.
So good news with that question. One of us will guarantee to be right of who scores more points this week, Hunter Henry or Robert Tonyan.
Yeah, sorry, Derek.
Yeah, sucks to be Derek. All right, moving to the tight end position for your DFS lineup. Travis Kelce. I mean, the Chiefs just take over, especially against Atlanta, $8,500. And then it's a massive drop-off down to Mark Andrews at $5,700. And then another drop-off down to Logan Thomas, of all people, at $4,900. Great play. Are you willing to play Tyler Higbee at $4,000?
I'm not willing to play Tyler Higbee at $1. At $1. Tyler Higbee can get out of here. Don't like Tyler Higbee. Never like Tyler Higbee. He's a blocking tight end who happens to catch passes. You remember Robert Gallery?
Wasn't he an offensive lineman?
Raiders first round pick back in that's who he is. They might as well be brothers or cousins.
Isn't Robert Gallery the guy that on Super Bowl Sunday just took off and kind of lost his mind?
He lost his mind. He was a big old offensive lineman from Iowa.
No one knew where he was on Super Bowl.
I think he was like the 8th pick. Don't quote me on this.
He went 2 overall.
2? Was it 2 that year?
Yep, he was the 2nd overall pick.
That makes it even worse.
I got a weird memory. He was the 2nd overall pick.
Because in the next year, we had to get him because we were trying to protect Marcus Russell.
Yeah. Oh God.
No, I'm not touching. No, I'm not touching him. Nope, not a chance. If you can't get the Kelsey, which most people won't, unless you're taking chances on, those cheap receivers, those you're making me lose my mind here. Those McCole Harbins and whatnot. At this point, I'm dropping. I'll punt this. I'll punt tight end this weekend and give me Zach Ertz and hope that he puts up a normal 10-point game or 10 reception game.
Hey, I'll go with a Gerald Everett at $2,800 and hope that Seattle defense he can do something. Give me Ian Thomas and hope he falls into the end zone. Give me that's not the right Jay Graham. That's somebody else. But Kyle wants to know, are you playing Noah Fant or Irv Smith in half PPR?
Oh, Irv Smith. They play Friday against the Saints. Saints have a pretty good defense. You'll have Demaryius Thomas in the middle. Lattimore on the outside. I'm probably gonna go Noah Fant in this one, just because they're gonna be playing up against a banged up Chargers defense, and that seems to be Drew Lock's comfort zone right now. You know, with Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler and all those guys on the outside, the young guys. It's even though Noah Fant's not much older, it seems to be his guy, and Noah Fant's speed is unbelievable. I mean, if he can get a step on a linebacker, you got him. So I'm taking, although I do like Irv Smith is on the rise. I think not this year, but maybe next year. The point with Kyle Rudolph being out, he's getting obviously the opportunities, but Albert O is also out in Denver. So I'm leaning Noah Fant there, Kyle.
Yep, I'm going Noah Fant there as well. All right, real quick, because I'm getting yelled at to go because I got a baby waking up. Give me a stack of the week.
Stack of the week?
Yeah.
My stack of the week is going to be Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders.
All right, and I'm going with Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry.
Love that.
Or if you want to get a little crazy, Mitch Trubisky and Allen Robinson. That could be a little wild. Yep. All right, that's all we got for today. Again, I got to run before I get my cojones cut off. So, Steve, thanks for coming out. Really appreciate you coming on. Josh, if you're out there in the world of vacationing, enjoy.
I mean, maybe listen just in case. Get it? The docket is gold. My pockets are swole. Stop, drop, and roll. At Lock I'm the gold, it doesn't get old. Each episode I just download. I'm just a fella that's hella intelligent now that I got me the code. Build me a yellow brick road. Hey, chillin', feelin'. How could I be this gifted? Millions, reelin'. Frying up all of these fish sticks. Enter all these competitions. I ain't seen no competition. Justice served, can't stop the system. I suggest y'all stop and listen. Please rise, sit down. Pot is in session, get rich now. Invest in the best, yes, the investigator is nothing but fresh. Please rise, sit down. Pot is in session, get rich now. Go by the book, yeah, the lawyer is loyal, now come take a look. Go.